Warhammer Quest Cursed City is imminent. We've had most of the leaks. We've got an idea of what's in the core box. So now the question beyond just confirmation release date is, are you in? Are you considering it? And I wanted to share with you in this vlog my thoughts on it. I'm looking at Blackstone Fortress, the 40K version, the previous version of Quest, the previous installment, and just to be aware of a couple of things. From the perspective of looking at the natural evolution of Silver Tower, that carrying down to Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress 40K, and now pretty much what we can expect for Cursed City. With the releases, I'm pretty confident they're going to still follow the model of core box, big box, and small box, where you're going to have these kind of side quest adventures, and then you're going to have some bigger box expansions that are going to be a secondary quest within the Cursed City, but also introducing new characters, new heroes. That's going to be pretty consistent throughout the release cycle. About a year, year and a half, 2 years, I think kind of maximum, aiming to shoot at regular intervals. At the same time, we're going to get White Dwarf. We're going to get some custom missions. We're going to get the annual. We're going to get where they're going to pull in Age of Sigmar models to tie in both Age of Sigmar players, but also be able to tie in model sales and existing model sales outside of the range. So we're going to see being able to utilize that. The real question is the time frame. And this I'm pretty confident at if we look at Blackstone Fortress, which by all accounts was a massive success. But again, with Games Workshop, it's never what Games Workshop says. It's what they do. And there's a segment of Blackstone Fortress players and potential players that got caught a little off guard. And we don't want that to happen with Cursed City. So when Blackstone Fortress was dropping, the idea was, and Games Workshop publicly said this, they're going to support this. This is going to be a long-term game. This is going to be a recurring theme, not just in the Quest series, but Blackstone Fortress itself. They went very heavy with the buy-in in that you're not just buying a standalone game, you're buying a representation of the 40K universe within that game, and they're going to release a lot of content. They're going to support it. Now, they did release a lot of content, but they did not support it. They supported the core, but what we saw was with every release, there was limited to almost no reprints for the small expansions and the bigger expansions. So as you arrive towards the middle to end of Blackstone Fortress, if you were jumping in at that point, you could get the core. It went out of print for a little while, but it came back. You couldn't pick up any of the X packs on that. And at the end cycle, when they're releasing the final mission, no spoilers, not going to give away any spoilers. When they've released this final mission, it required other X packs, and to finish out the story, it would have been nice to have the other elements. You could not obtain them. So essentially that final end to the Blackstone Fortress story was only made sense if you were there from day one. Now, Blackstone Fortress, I was fortunate enough to regularly be playing and making my way through since day one, being a 40K enthusiast, loving 40K. You know, it hit all those points with me. Absolutely. I was in. So with that full collection, I didn't miss anything, but friends of mine that jumped in midway, Games Workshop did not support it. It was a pump and dump, much like their other specialists, other games, other releases we see for 40K. You get in at the time, or that's it. Now, of course, certainly this is an effective business model. I mean, it's making mad cash. That's great. But in terms of if you don't jump in the beginning, or worse, you jump in at the end cycle, where does that leave you? So the question for me is the need to jump in Cursed City day one. And as of right now, that's okay because it's going to be released. We're going to get the core. I imagine within 3 to 6 months, they'll follow up with a teaser of the first pack as we play. And the pace that they are releasing it, certainly that allows you to literally play along. It's almost like a season 1, season 2. It allows you to play along as the story unfolds. But if you don't buy in, that's my concern. If you don't buy in from the beginning, if we're looking like a year from now, the limited release, the support, and then they are going to completely drop it. And they did this with Silver Tower, which was a smaller release. It surprised me. They did it with Blackstone Fortress. They're going to do it with this. So I think we have to go in knowing that despite, again, whatever Games Workshop says is vastly different than they do. We don't want to jump in mid to end stream and suddenly decide, hey, Cursed City, this looks awesome. And then you're not able to get those X packs. You're not able to purchase into the full storyline and the full immersion. Your thoughts on the release schedule. What do you think it's going to follow? And do you think that maybe Blackstone Fortress was kind of unique in that the popularity of it shows them that they should support something like this regularly throughout the entire cycle? So do you think these X packs, do you think the core, do you think everything will continue on until the very end, being able to purchase and to be available? Or do you think it is going to be a pump and dump limited release?